The storm over the Red Plateau had barely settled when Dr. Elias Moran descended into the excavation shaft. For 10 years he had chased a myth, the existence of a sealed chamber beneath the ruins of old Earth's final refuge. The stories told of a vault designed to protect something humanity feared and treasured in equal measure. But nothing prepared Elias for the moment the dust cleared and revealed the monolithic obsidian door, carved with symbols no living scholar could read. The marks were angular, yet rhythmic, harsh, but strangely elegant, as though the ancestors had sung them into the stone itself. His team gathered around him, breath held, watching as faint bioluminescent veins flickered inside the carving, reacting to their presence like a dormant creature stirring from a centuries-long sleep. Elias touched the panel, and the lines flashed violently, a shock of cold air rushing past them like the chamber exhaled in relief. Before anyone could process what was happening, the door cracked open with a thunderous groan, and a stale breeze drifted out, carrying the faint scent of old paper and metal decay. Inside lay a rectangular slab sealed in crystalline resin, and embedded within were stacks of thin metallic sheets etched with the same indecipherable symbols. Elias' chest tightened, for he knew immediately what they had found: the final repository of proto-human script, a language whispered about in archaeological legends but assumed lost forever. This was the language said to contain humanity's deepest philosophies, its earliest fears, and its last warnings. But as they lifted the slab from its resting place, the resin hummed with an energy no one expected, a low resonance that made the lights flicker and the ground tremble. Elias hesitated, unsure whether he had uncovered a treasure meant to enlighten civilization, or a secret meant to stay buried. The decoding laboratory thrummed with anticipation as Elias placed the slab under the quantum magnifier. Every scholar, linguist, and historian in the room leaned forward, desperate to witness the rebirth of a forgotten language. For centuries, the Galactic Union had relied on a universal communication system free from ambiguity, crafted for diplomacy and efficiencies. The idea that an ancient human language could be revived, one filled with metaphor, emotion, and contradiction, both thrilled and terrified them. Elias activated the scanner, and the metallic sheets projected streams of symbols into the air like floating constellations. The characters seemed to move, shifting their shapes as though resisting interpretation, almost alive in their refusal to be understood. The AI linguistics core struggled, its processors emitting a strained hum, warning lights flickering like anxious eyes as it attempted to decipher the script. After hours of computation, the machine offered a single translation, displayed in soft blue light. The tongue shapes the mind, and the mind shapes the fate. A chill swept through the room, for the phrase felt less like a statement and more like a prophecy. As the analysis progressed, the AI began to identify structural patterns, complex layers of meaning embedded within each symbol, capable of expressing ideas far beyond the precision of modern languages. The more they decoded, the more they realized the script could capture emotions, contradictions, and dualities no current system could replicate. It allowed for truths that were both light and dark, hopeful and despairing, all at once. As Elias read the first fully translated passage, something inside him shifted, as stirring in his mind, like an old instinct reawakening. Some scholars felt exhilarated, believing this rediscovery would return humanity's lost creativity, empathy, and nuance. Others trembled with unease, worried that reviving such a volatile language could resurrect ancient conflicts rooted in misinterpretation and emotional intensity. Already, two researchers argued fiercely over the meaning of the first passage, their voices tense and strained, despite the triviality of the disagreement. A dark thought crossed Elias's mind. Perhaps this language had not been lost by accident, but hidden deliberately because of the chaos it once unleashed. Weeks passed, and as more translations surfaced, Elias found himself consumed by the script's complexity. He began noticing changes within his own thought patterns. Ideas felt broader, heavier, more layered, no longer confined to linear clarity, but branching into countless interpretations all at once. He experienced vivid dreams, in which ancestral voices whispered the ancient words, guiding him through landscapes he had never seen yet somehow recognized. When he shared these experiences, some researchers admitted to experiencing similar shifts: heightened imagination, deeper empathy, and moments of overwhelming emotion. Others confessed to unsettling visions, nightmares of collapsing worlds, commanding shadows, and cryptic warnings chanted in the lost language. The Union Council called for a psychological evaluation of the entire decoding team, concerned that the language's structure might be affecting their neural pathways. After all, Language was not merely a tool for communication, it shaped perception, identity, and thought. If proto-human script truly influenced cognitive processes, then deciphering it could alter the minds of those who studied it. Elias reviewed the vault's final inscription, now fully translated. Guard the tongue that births reality, for in its echoes lie both creation and ruin. Suddenly, everything made sense. The ancestors had not sealed the language away because they feared it would be forgotten, they feared it would be remembered. Yet Elias also discovered texts describing poetry that could mend emotional wounds, philosophical patterns that brought clarity in crisis, and stories that unlocked extraordinary compassion. The language was not inherently dangerous. It was powerful, profoundly so, amplifying whatever emotions and intentions dwelt within its speaker. Blessing or a threat, light or shadow, the script itself was only a vessel. Humanity's use of it determined its destiny. Elias knew they stood at a crossroads, the kind that could shape the future of not only humans, but every species in the Union. News of the discovery spread across the galaxy, and soon the Union's worlds buzzed with heated debate. Some hailed the resurrection of proto-human script as a cultural renaissance, the chance to reclaim humanity's artistic identity and emotional depth. Others warned that reintroducing such a volatile linguistic system could disrupt societal harmony, spark new cultural rifts, or even weaponize communication. Elias was summoned to the Central Assembly to present his findings, before delegates from 37 species, each with their own viewpoints and fears, standing on the grand platform. He explained how the language operated, its flexibility, its emotional resonance, its ability to alter cognitive processes. He presented both the beauty and the danger, refusing to mask the complexity behind simplistic assurances. As he spoke, he saw the delegates' reactions, some mesmerized, others horrified, a few deeply conflicted. The debate raged for days, one side advocating for education and careful reintroduction, the other demanding permanent destruction of the archive. Matters escalated when a splinter faction released a fragment of the script into the public sphere. Within hours, people began reporting heightened emotional states, unexplained visions, and intense creative impulses. Artists painted with unprecedented depth. Musicians composed symphonies that brought entire crowds to tears. But there were also riots sparked by misunderstandings, individuals overwhelmed by emotional surges, and political leaders accusing one another of linguistic manipulation. The Union teetered between enlightenment and chaos. Its future uncertain, Elias watched events spiral, his heart heavy, realizing the ancient warning had predicted this very outcome. The language could unite minds through shared wonder or fracture them through amplified conflict. Hope and danger were now inseparably intertwined, and humanity had to choose which path to walk. The crisis reached its peak when the Council ordered the destruction of the archive, fearing the galaxy would fall into discord. But Elias refused to let the last remnant of humanity's ancestral wisdom be erased. Instead, he proposed a radical solution, a controlled release of the language through guided education, emotional training, and ethical instruction. He argued that suppressing the script would only strengthen its mystique and push people to seek it in secret, where misuse would be inevitable. By teaching future generations to understand the language's depth, its power, and its emotional weight, they could wield it responsibly. His plan was met with fierce resistance, yet also fervent support. Delegates argued late into the night, their voices echoing through the chamber in frustration and hope. Elias stood firm, reminding them that every powerful tool, fire, technology, knowledge had once been feared. But with guidance and wisdom, humanity had mastered them, turning danger into advancement. Finally, after days of deliberation, the Council reached a compromise. The archive would be preserved under strict guardianship, and a pilot program would be created to teach the language to select scholars, philosophers, and artists. Elias was appointed as the program's first guardian, entrusted with shaping the future of the rediscovered tongue. Years later, he watched his students, human and alien alike, speak the ancient words with reverence and clarity. Their thoughts grew more expressive, their creativity soared, and their empathy deepened. Conflicts did not vanish, but new channels of understanding emerged, allowing disputes to be resolved with nuance and compassion that modern language had long forgotten. Elias realized that the question posed at the beginning, whether the language was a threat or a blessing, never had a simple answer. It was both. Just as humanity itself had always been both capable of destruction and creation, conflict and unity, despair and hope, the script merely magnified what already lay within the heart. And so the ancient tongue lived once more, not as a weapon nor as a forbidden relic, but as a reminder that every civilization shapes its destiny through the words it chooses to speak. The future remained uncertain, but it was filled with possibility, with a reborn language that carried the memories of the past and the dreams of generations yet to come.